Pep Guardiola losing another game very early on in the season, 5-2 to Leicester. What do you think about that? Like, is Pep out of his depth already on the Premier League?
I think I think it's a combination of so many things. Obviously, first of all, I think Pep hasn't been the same in a while. Um, in terms of he's just been overthinking for years now. He's been doubting himself for years. Like, what people say about him clearly gets to him. You can even see that through some of his press conferences. I think he even addressed how he gets called the fraud on Twitter or fraud the
Yeah,
over.
yeah, yeah, yeah. He addressed it.
I think he even addressed that in one of his press conferences. So he clearly knows what people say about him. And I think that's one part of it. I think the other part of it is Man City need to change. Need to first of all, I mean, their defenders were not even good enough in the first place. Even when they won the Premier League back-to-back years, their defenders were not good enough. And what you have now is a team that has just gotten very stale. So the defenders are still not good enough, even though they've made so many. I mean, Pep has spent. I think I just read that he spent over almost 500 million just on defenders, and you could argue that only one of them is good enough in Laporte. And I'll respect Walker; he's a good defender, Laporte and Walker. And then on the other hand, you have the fact that it has gotten stale. Even their attack, they have so many attacking options, right? They have endless attacking options, but it doesn't feel like it anymore. Why? Because it just feels boring. It feels like they need something different in attack. Um, with Aguero's injury and Jesus, obviously that doesn't help. But even then, like, just we've praised Jesus a lot, right? But is Jesus who's good enough to be the main striker for a team that wants to win the league, for example? On a Champions League night, he's as good as it gets. Tactically, he's as good as it gets. You can give him any tactical assignment, he'll stick to it. He works hard, run it. He can run in behind. He gets on the end of chances. Fair enough, but he's not a prolific goal scorer. He's not. His finishing has been poor for years. Is he ever gonna fix it? Who knows, right? And then tactically, I mean, you look at that game. Pep starts with a double pivot, just like he's done in recent since post quarantine. He's been playing 4-2-3-1 a lot, and ultimately that's quite pragmatic, right? I mean, Pep throughout his career, he's never believed in double pivots ever. Like he's believed in a lone DM, and he's believed that a double pivot limits you on possession, right? And then you're 1-1 against a good team in Leicester, a team that has always bothered you, and there is no reason to start taking a risk that early in the game. And he takes off Fernandinho. So, what was the point of starting Fernandinho in the first place? Because you're not losing, and it's not like there's 10 minutes left, right? He took off Fernandinho very early. You have, I believe, he took off Fernandinho with like over half an hour on the clock. So why are you taking that risk that early in the game? I just don't understand. Like, that's when you start questioning. Is Pep questioning himself? Is he doubting himself? Is he just listening to the noise, right? Because if you played Fernandinho because you actually believe it's the right move, why the hell would you take him off so early when the game is only 1-1? And then from there you just completely get exposed because your defenders can't do the basics. I mean, Mendy's one of the worst signings ever, honestly. I don't think people really talk about that enough. Mendy's just a horrible signing. You're not gonna see defenders as bad as Mendy. It's very hard to find defenders as bad as Mendy. Nathan Aki, I mean, people were really excited for that signing. I mean, Nathan Aki is maybe a good signing for a team like Tottenham, but a team like City, trying to win Premier Leagues and trying to win Champions Leagues, I mean, Eric Garcia, very overrated. Players that just can't do the basics.
I don't think Garcia is overrated though.
Sorry?
I don't think Garcia. I don't think Garcia is overrated because nobody seems to rate him. You know,
I'm going by what I see Barca fans do.
yeah. But the thing is that the only reason that he has such a high value and everything is because he came through the Barca ranks rather than him being quality. And we have seen that as a trend with somebody like Marc Bartra, for example. And he's still not good enough, I would presume, for even a team like Betis. And
When like even someone like Mark Bartra, right? Like, what does Mark Bartra excel at? I mean, he can have the ball. Right?
no, work with the ball.
Yeah. When I look at Eric Garcia, I see a player. He's not quick for a defender. He's not strong.
He's very slow, actually.
Yeah, I don't see anything special about his reading of the game. He's not great in the air. He's short, and he doesn't have the leap to make up for it. I just even on the ball, right? People say he's good on the ball. I see a player that's comfortable on the ball. I don't see a player that's that can really express himself on the ball.
Yeah, but he's very young on that department. But the fact that he brushes the ball very well, he can hold it very well, that the other aspects can be improved, unlike some of the other things. But
Yeah.
there is too much wrong with him for him to be worth like 18 million pounds with a year left on his contract, or 32 million that City's asking. And I just don't see how Eric Garcia is anywhere near the level of Barcelona or Manchester City or any team that wants to actually be a title contender. Like a good depth option, yeah. A starter or anywhere near it, I don't think so.
And we haven't even talked about how stale they are against deep blocks. I mean, other than Suarez doing um, something exceptional, or De Bruyne, it feels like they against deep blocks. It's just the same automations, the same patterns they've been doing for years, and it has gotten very stale and even not just very boring for the viewer. I think it's gotten boring for the players as well. I think the players. It seems like the players need something fresh. Obviously, the pressing. I mean, you can tell. I mean, that doesn't help when you're a very press-heavy team and you can't concede play because City can't defend, right? City have always relied on pressing because they can't defend ultimately, right?
Yeah.
So when you don't have a preseason and you don't have the fitness levels, you get exposed badly, and it's really just the same old story. How many times have we seen this? Jamie Vardy, quick players,
Yeah.
Ashley Barnes, just
Yeah.
killing them.
Yeah. That is going to be a trend for Pep, unless he changes things. Like you might, after that, you do wonder if Guardiola is actually taking this completely seriously and is going to change it. Like I would hope so, at the very least. I would hope that Guardiola is trying to fix the pressing patterns, the way how they play with the ball. There are a lot of tactical errors that people don't seem to want to admit. Last season it was the same. Personally speaking, I don't know why Pep moved away from that 4-3-3 that he used and why he let Sane go, because you can see that Sane would stay if Pep went back to playing that way, but he just ditched it. And now, even if he wants to go back, I don't think he has the personnel to go back at that. And he's in a pickle, personally thinking. He's not in the best situation that he would hope to find himself in. But obviously, right now they signed Ruben Dias, I think his name is pronounced, for like 68 million pounds or something like that. And I mean, there is Otamendi involved in the deal and money and everything. Yeah, but I think he goes up to 68, something like that, which is a little bit ridiculous considering that I don't think he's worth that much. Like, obviously, there is a lot to do with their planning and what they saw in it, but just looking at their targets, they start with Koulibaly. Their second target becomes Koundé of Sevilla. Then who were they linked to? There was another one linked to them.
You know what I don't understand? What I don't understand is, okay, you have all this money, right? Money is clearly not a problem. and Koulibaly was clearly willing to come, and Napoli were clearly willing to sell at a
Yeah.
certain price.
Yeah, but 98 million. That's a bit too much.
No, not 98. It wasn't it 75 million.
I think it was 98 by the end of it.
Okay, 98, then that's ridiculous. Then I understand, right? But if it was, because all I read was 75 million. So I was like, okay, I mean,
Yeah,
even
but
if you Diaz for like 65 million, I mean, that extra 10 million is worth it because Koulibaly is exactly what they need. A defender that can defend high, that can defend space, a leader, amazing on the ball. Like, Koulibaly is really what they need. I mean, that's the perfect signing, right?
yeah.
I just don't understand. Like, come on, if it's 98 million, then okay, fair enough. I understand. But if it was actually, if Napoli were actually willing to let him go for 75 million, then I really just don't. And even Conde, like, how can you, like, his release clause is 70 million, right?
Yeah.
You pay for Ruben Diaz. Let's say you even paid 60 million. I think they even paid higher than that, but let's say it's 60 million, right? Conde's clearly. I mean, I don't know Ruben Diaz, right? But I know that Conde's clearly the real deal.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, when I was watching Kunde against Bayern, I was like, okay, like, it just, I've been a fan of his for a while now, but it hit me like, yo, this guy is going to be possibly a legend of the game. Like, he's going to be one of the best defenders of his generation.
Yeah.
Why not invest the extra 10 million for...
There were words coming out of Sevilla that Kunde wants Real Madrid. I'm not sure how much true is to that, but he wants to stay in Spain and play for Real Madrid. This is something that at least I got from the Sevilla newspapers.
How about Upamecano?
Yeah, but Upamecano just renews with Leipzig and already promised them another season. So it's like, to be honest, they were short on options. They were very short on options. But they managed to get rid of Otamendi at the same time getting Ruben Dias, so it's not possibly the worst deal out there. But my biggest problem is that none of these players are the same profile. So are you trying to just get a defender in?
Yeah, exactly. So from what I heard, I haven't watched Ruben Diaz, right? But from what I heard is that Ruben Diaz is like a old school low block defender that defends the box, right? Amazing in the air. You know what I mean, right? Like a box defender.
Yeah.
How do you go from how are you? Why are you trying to sign that? You are always in a high line. You're always pressing. You always need a defender that can defend space. If that's the case, I don't know if that's what I'm being told, right? I don't know the player, but if that's the case, then it's a clown show at City. It really is a clown show from the management to Pep. Then they don't know what they're doing.
Cheeky.
They really don't know what
Yeah. I
How are you
mean,
going to solve the problem when you don't even know what you need,
yeah, they have done a very poor job planning. It's crazy to think that a few years back, City was ultimately the best project in world of football. Like few years back. Right now, they seem like one of the worst in top teams. It's hard to be the worst because Barcelona exists, but they are one of the worst on that department right now.
Football moves fast. 2 years ago,
Yeah.
or even a year and a half ago, we thought Bayern were really in trouble. You fast forward 18 months, and Bayern are on top of the world.
Best team in Europe. Yeah.
Exactly. You look at Liverpool. 4 years ago, Liverpool were celebrating draws against, was it Stoke? Or I can't remember. But they were celebrating a draw against Stoke, and they were losing 6-1 to Stoke and all that. You fast forward 3-4 years, and they won the Champions League, and they're on top of it. So football moves very fast, and that's the beauty of football, right? Like, football is really just a matter of a few good decisions.
Yeah.
It's a matter of a few good decisions that will give you instant results.
Yeah. I think we covered City completely, the tactical issues that are there. So, moving into their neighbors, Manchester United, and I don't really want to talk much about them. I don't want to be like only out or something like that. It's too early in the season, but signs right now aren't good for United. Like the way how they're playing, and everything, and they don't seem to be able to land Jadon Sancho, so that is going to be another problem to be added on top of it. But Brighton, what a wonderful start of the season by them. Potter has done an incredible job tactically. Like, has been the better team in all three games, and two of those have been against Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Frank Lampard. There are a lot of expectations in Solskjaer because he has to deliver, regardless if Sancho is signed or not. Probably they're not expecting a title, but they want a third place, at least the fans. And Frank Lampard, after having spent like 280 million, something like that, right? On a very depressed market where the prices have been as low as they could get.
So really, the signings are probably worth 400.
Yeah. In overall worth, yeah, value, yeah, considering the market pre-COVID. But right now, they have signed a lot of players, and they even got players like Thiago Silva on their books for free, which should be mentioned. And the most expensive goalkeeper of all time is apparently going to be just a backup. Chelsea has done a lot of business. Obviously, it's going to take time for all these players to click together because sometimes buying too much can be a bad thing because it adds a lot of pressure while these players are going to need time to click together. So I think that Lampard this season could be walking in a very tight rope. And
Allegri and Poch are on the side.
yeah, exactly, right. There are a lot of coaches out there ready to take those kind of jobs, and Lampard is going to be under a lot of pressure. I believe that Lampard overachieved last season, but he's gonna underachieve this season, given to what fans are expecting and what they're really going to get.
To be honest, though, the fans' expectations are unrealistic. Like, Chelsea fans were talking about winning the title.
I don't think so.
Obviously not. Like, for me, I've said since day one, Chelsea, a top three finish and Champions League quarterfinals is good enough for Chelsea.
Yeah, it is, but that is easier said than done, especially how they have started. Like, even tactically, Lampard looks a little bit out of his depth.
I don't think Chelsea. I don't think a top three finish is going to be that hard given the competition. I mean, for example, that West Brom game I thought was very deceiving. Like, first of all, the first goal, Alonso mistake, and then the defender doesn't get tight enough. The goalkeeper, a better goalkeeper, saves that as well. Like literally three things that could have been avoided. Second goal, I mean,
No, I'm not talking about the West Brom match, to be honest. That was a very anomaly type of game, the Brighton one.
Third goal, I mean, any team can concede that corner, you know.
Yeah.
And then their response in the second half, I thought was impressive.
I just think that West Brom were very bad defensively. Like we knew that before, even going into the game, that West Brom are really bad at defending.
Liverpool game, the red cards, right? But what I don't like about Chelsea so far is how Lampard is just. I mean, that's the problem, right? That just like you said, that's the problem. So many signings. How do you find the balance? How do you play everyone?
I don't think he knows his players as of right now. Obviously, he hasn't had enough time to work with them, so that's going to be the case. But Havertz on that right center mid / right wing role, it works in Leverkusen, where they were playing completely different football.
And don't forget, like in that game, for some reason, Lampard played the entire second half with Verna on the right.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't know his as I said before, he doesn't know his players well. He deserves time, definitely, to get the squad clicking. But the problem becomes when you spend so much that you're not given time. Like, Lampard is going to be judged with each game.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, to play Verna there against a deep block, I was like, what's happening here? You know, like, do you know who Verna is? That's just like you said. But that's not an excuse though, because I'm a fan of Lampard, but I mean we're in 2020. You could have, all you have to do is go on YouTube
But
and watch games of Verna, and you'll know the type of player he is.
what I give to Lampard is how good his PR team is. Like, genuinely. I have never in my lifetime seen such a protected manager. Wow.
I
Like,
haven't really, to be honest.
wow. The work that his friends and the media do. Insane. Like, I'm not hating that. I'm respecting it. It's insane work rate. Like, from the.
In the media, like
Yeah, on the media in general, media, Britain, TV, social media, everywhere. There is one thing, like they're gonna give you bullshits of lies that Frank Lampard has been in discussion with Kai Havertz for like 6 months now. If that was the case, why the hell did that transfer take like a year to be finalized? It felt like a year. It's not just, oh, clubs were in the green, blah, blah, blah. If Lampard was given the green light to talk to the player, which obviously Bayer Leverkusen has to give, then it would be a little bit different of transfer. And if Lampard has talked so much with the player, why is he playing Havertz the way he is? Because anybody that has watched Havertz play, anybody knows that he's not comfortable in the positions that he's been playing. Like, he switched him like a number 10 center forward type, and he gave that pass to Callum Hudson-Odoi. Perfectly weighted. It was amazing pass. That's the type of player he is. He was expecting Havertz to dictate play or something like that. Then against Liverpool, that very weird, narrow position. I don't know. It's just that if they have really had so many discussions together, like the only thing that I wasn't hearing was that they were sleeping together at that point. It's like.
Let's be real. The Havertz hype didn't really start until after quarantine. Like really, when he post quarantine, when Bundesliga was like the only league that was in play, Havertz was having amazing performance after amazing performance, and that's when like the hype really started.
Yeah. No. My point was I like Havertz a lot as a player, and you know it. And I wish that Real Madrid, for example, signed him. But my point was just how really protected Lampard is on the media, and he really is. It doesn't take much to notice it.
No, I don't even watch English TV per se. Like I don't have Sky and stuff. I'm in Canada, so I don't get that stuff. But just through the Twitter and stuff, some of the clips I see, yeah, it's clear. I mean, I guess it makes sense. I mean, the golden boy of English football at one point. He has so many friends in the media. He played with so many.
Yeah, look, I understand that. Like, I do understand everything. But if you're going to give stick to somebody else for the same thing, then at the very least, like, we have talked a lot about journalism, and last video was a lot about journalism, so I don't know why I got into this. But point is that, please be fair. That's it. Let's just move on from this, because I don't want to talk about them. Liverpool beat Arsenal, and very impressive, I must say. Impressive performance by Klopp, man.
Yeah, off the ball especially, like you can talk about how Arsenal's team was not good enough just individually, but talk about not being able to breathe, like not being able to string two passes together. How many times in that game did you see Arsenal not just go back to the goalkeeper, but go back to the goalkeeper where the goalkeeper only has one angle to pass, and it's like a long ball to Miles or Bellerin, and they win the second ball, and Liverpool attack again. It's I think
wasn't shot difference like 20 for Liverpool? I think something like that.
And I can't blame Arteta because Arsenal's shape was fine, especially at the start and stuff. But ultimately, when you play against a great team, and you suffer for so long, they're obviously gonna eventually make mistakes and they're gonna eventually score.
Yeah, obviously.
Not strictly luck, like right? Like the only way you survive a game like that is by luck, and you need to buy yourself time on the ball. You need to have intervals of control of possession to give yourself a breather. But Arsenal do not have the quality to do that.
Yeah,
Arsenal do.
at least for the moment.
I'm really struggling. Like watching that game, I was really struggling to blame Arteta because I was like, that the gap in quality.
The only thing that I'll blame Arteta in is his team selection. I think it's been a bit shaky from time to time with the players that he started. Elneny? Seriously? Like, I just don't think that Elneny was the best possible player to be in that game. Ceballos, as proven, was very efficient. Maybe not starting Ceballos, but at least not taking Xhaka off and playing Ceballos in his place. Xhaka Ceballos could have been a better pairing, personally speaking. And Pepe, like Lacazette wasn't up to it. Liverpool were too high for him. He just wasn't able to breathe. And even after missing the chances, it just seemed like Arteta didn't want to drop that Aubameyang on the left and a striker, and Nketiah came on instead of keeping Willian. I'm not sure if Willian got injured, to be honest, so I'm not sure about that. But personally, what I would have done differently was Pepe, Aubameyang, and Willian, so that way you have two wingers who can recycle possession and a player that can properly exploit the spaces that Liverpool were leaving. I don't think that Aubameyang was used properly. That was my only issue with Arteta. Otherwise, he did a lot of things right and obviously deserves credit. It's just that sometimes the opponents are too good, and that was the case with Liverpool.
I mean, he's trying to build up against Liverpool with Rob Holding. I mean,
Yeah,
every time Rob Holding touched the ball, you just felt hopeless. You felt that you should just turn off your TV.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's the mistakes he made is Ceballos is your best and most press resistant player against the best pressing team in the world, right? And you didn't play him. And Pepe is your second most direct player after Aubameyang and stuff. In a game like this, you're either gonna play through them at times and somehow get through their press, or you're gonna play quick in behind them, right? You're gonna be direct. So to not play Ceballos, your most press resistant player, and then Pepe, your most direct wide player, to play Lacazette, who offers nothing, in my opinion. I don't understand it. Like, you could have played Aubameyang, Willian on the left, Pepe on the right, and that would make sense. Also, Saka, I guess he doesn't trust him defensively, but
Yeah, it could be the case.
but Arsenal were trying to build up, though, and Saka's just a good footballer, and he would have just been better, He would have been better. Like, you look at Miles in that game. Miles on the left is clearly not comfortable, right? That's not his position. I mean, how many times did Miles just misplace the butt pass or just who?
Yeah. On ball, yeah, but off ball, he was really good. Miles. I really liked him.
That's what he played there.
Yeah. Liverpool just were too good, and I think that Arsenal fans and players and everybody shouldn't be too disappointed, even if they miss those chances. Ultimately, Liverpool deserve to win. I know that football isn't about who deserves to win; it's about who actually won. But it's like Liverpool are really good, so I wouldn't bother much about that. And also, they might have Awar, I think his name is that, coming from Lyon, possibly, if they're not really cheap with the transfer. So a lot going on for Arsenal right now to really bother with the result of against champions.
Exactly.
So I think enough of the Premier League. Let's just move on with Bayern Munich. Lost their first game after 24 games, I think. Like their last loss was last December, which is insane. And it was expected. They played 120 minutes against Sevilla after playing against Schalke, and they are such a team that needs to run a lot. So I wasn't really shocked by that, and people are really overreacting by that result. It was coming. After the game against Sevilla, it was just coming.
Yeah, and I also think you could argue, feel like kind of, sent a message to the board. Uh, I think, but yeah, Bayern just played that same style, but they were tired, and also they didn't get away with it. Like Bayern give up big chances. Bayern,
Yeah, a lot. There was,
like
I think there was a statistic. I don't know who brought it, so I should really do my research about this before coming into saying this. But I think they gave up like 49 big chances, or I think 49 big chances were missed against them from like 70 or something. I'm not sure about this stat, but it was insane for a big team.
yeah, exactly. And we've seen it. We saw it in the Champions League. Let's not kid ourselves.
Yeah, Neuer did like.
If I told you Alaba Boateng back line in a very press-heavy system like that, with Alfonso left back, won the Champions League, man, if you told me that a few months ago, I would be surprised, right? But I think Bayern played. I'm not trying to take away anything from them. They deserved it. They were the best team. I'm not trying to take anything away from them. But I'm just saying, like, the matchups benefited them. The matchups didn't really expose them as much. Barca, very slow team. And even then, anyone that watches the first 20 minutes of that game knows, what I'm
Bayern got lucky on the first 20 minutes. It could have gone very differently. But it ended 8-2, so I guess it's something that shouldn't really be said, but it's a fact.
Yeah.
That Bayern got lucky early on.
Leon, again,
Lucky early on.
In the first 15, 20 minutes, I think Leon had like 3 big chances.
Yeah, it was something like that.
I'm talking chances that you should score as a striker.
Yeah.
So you put all that together, and then fatigue and a team that take their chances, and I'm not surprised. No, I think Bayern will be fine. Obviously,
Yeah, they're gonna be fine.
They're gonna win the league and everything, but I think it's something to look at in the future. But Bayern do need a deeper squad, and that's why Philly keeps.
Is his name Flick or Flick?
Flick. To be honest, I'm not sure.
Because Hansi, I know is his name, but I think
Okay.
Flick.
Yeah, so I think it's something to look at in the future. Are Bayern going to be able to sustain this without injuries and without a deep squad? And are they going to be less fortunate against teams that get those big chances?
Yeah. Okay, so you have to cover when a team loses after 24 games, but it's not a problem for Bayern. Like, it's just another thing. It won't matter on a long run.
Yeah.
And La Liga superstar of the week, Ansu Fati. Really great performance by the kid. Like, he had that great game. His last official game was with Spain. Can I speak? And he was amazing. And Fati scoring these low XG or low expected goals is not out of norm anymore. He seems to have a knack for it. It's not just because sometimes people were like, "Oh, some of these shots gonna be sustainable." Yes, he's scoring a lot of them. It's clearly that he has a knack for scoring goals from that position. Like, it's his position. And that is such a huge thing for a 17-year-old to be said about. Like, he has those unorthodox positions where he's just gonna score from.
He's clearly an amazing. He's clear, like his shooting technique is clearly amazing. His finishing is clearly amazing.
Yeah, extremely polished.
Like when you look at that first goal, like that's just an amazing finish. Because if you look at that goal, maybe when you're watching on TV, you would think that he tucks it in with the inside of his foot to like the middle of the goal. That wasn't the middle of the goal. That was actually to the left. And if you look closely, there is 2 defenders that would have blocked it if he went to the right, if he placed it to his right or to the middle of the goal. So that was actually the only angle that he would have really had
to work with.
a likely chance of scoring.
Yeah,
And then the ball comes really fast at him, and just one touch, you can't teach that. That's just a goal scorer. He's a goal scorer. I
yeah.
mean, he played striker, and apparently he was a striker when he was younger. And Barca B and stuff. I don't even think he played Barca B. He played.
No, no, he came.
Yeah.
Yeah, he came straight from a rank below. Yeah,
Yeah. So and also talk about like XG. I mean, his second goal is not low XG, right? That's a chance that he should score. And
no. But I'm talking about overall shooting of him. He tends to score those low XG types of goals. It's like it's a tendency with him. It's a trend. It's not something that happened once or twice.
But you know, there is players that can score. You know, there's players that will score amazing goals, but they'll really fuck up the easy ones. But when you look at that second goal, he gets a good chance, very calm, tucks it in at the near post, and then that's it. You know, it's that simple. That shows you like he really is that guy in terms of in front of goal. He's a goal scorer.
Yeah,
Like for example, if Fati missed that second chance, you know, I would start being like, I mean, yeah, like maybe this is not sustainable because maybe like you have an amazing shooting technique and everything, but you know, if you can't finish the easy ones, then you know that has to be your bread and butter. Ultimately, as a goal scorer, your bread and butter has to be those kind of chances, right? You're not going to score amazing goals every week. You're not going to have amazing finishes every week, but that second goal was just as impressive for me because lots of space, lots of time. He doesn't overthink. Very calm, tucks it in near post. That's it. Moves on, you know.
yeah,
And then he wins the penalty. I mean, look, he's got everything you need. And like, is Dembele like is Fati like an unbelievable talent on the ball? No, on the ball he's very good, but he's not. You know, he's not Neymar. He's not even Osmani. He's not even um, you know, he's nothing, you know, we've never seen before on the ball. But he's got everything you need to be a world class forward in the modern game.
yeah.
So
He can do a bit of everything. Obviously, he's gonna start excelling more and more as he grows as a player. But as of right now, the player that you're seeing is a very promising player. That's for sure. Like really promising player, not your everyday type of player that breaks through.
yeah, he's one of those players that you just feel he's given how football is nowadays, especially he's guaranteed to be a top player. If he doesn't get injured, if he's fine, he stays professional, he's good, he takes care of himself.
It's gonna be interesting to see how he deals when defenders actually try to analyze him because this season he's expected to play a lot more, so a lot more attention is gonna be brought into him. Coaches are gonna do that, so it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting to see how he copes with it.
Yeah, I think he just the main thing he needs to work on is he needs to be more dynamic on the ball. Like 1v1, he needs to be more
Yeah,
dynamic.
yeah.
Like not just rely on his close control and speed. No, be a bit more dynamic, and then he'll always as long as he gets chances, the likelihood of him scoring is high. So
Yeah,
he's gonna be a top player.
yeah, for sure. Now sticking with La Liga and Barcelona because you have to. Luis Suarez scored and assisted on his debut with Atletico Madrid in like 25 minutes. Interesting that for Barcelona because obviously they wanted him out. The way how they did it just wasn't agreed upon. But I also think that it was time for all of them to move on. Suarez needs to move on from Barca. It started to become a little bit stale there. But I think Barca ultimately are gonna end up missing Suarez goals throughout the season.
Honestly, the way I look at it is it's a win-win. Uh, Barca needed to move on. Barca cannot afford to have a player that doesn't. It's just like you said, it has gotten stale and he's physically declined. It's tough for a manager to fit him and Messi in the same team,
Yeah, for sure.
especially tactically, and cover for them defensively. At the same time, Atleti needed a goal scorer, and they've got a player that's born to score goals. One of the best strikers in the history of La Liga, and Atleti want to win La Liga. And for Suarez, again, I think it's a great move for him. He can have another year or two with a new challenge. And I think it's really gonna help people appreciate Suarez. Like if Suarez really has great seasons with Atleti and really like challenges for the Pichichi, challenges for who knows, maybe the Golden Boot, probably not, but
I think it's inevitable. I think he's going to be able to challenge for Pichichi at least.
and if he somehow wins the league with them, that's it. That's what you need. That's why it's a perfect move for him because that's what he needed at that point in his career. At Barca,
I wonder.
the only thing he could have proven at Barca is if he won more Champions Leagues, okay? But that's not going to happen because Barca are not in position to do that, right? So the challenge is gone. But to go to another team, I really think people will start appreciating how good of a player Suarez really is. Obviously, we know how good he's always been, but I think sometimes it gets overlooked how much of a legendary striker.
Yeah. Like last season is his arguably career's worst in overall. Since playing in a top 5 league, you could say last season, and he still scored 13 goals. And I think from 13, 9 of them were game changers, either equalizing the match or putting Barca ahead, which is very important. Very important, something to note. Clutch goals. Yeah, probably efficiency wasn't there, and I think he scored more than 13 actually. I'm not sure about the exact number right now.
And some of them were amazing.
Yeah.
The no-look back heel, the goal against Betis. I mean, some of them were really. That's what I'm saying. Like, if this is what I was discussing with some Atleti fans actually, and they were telling me this. If we tell you that Atleti scored 2 goals, what do you think Atleti got 3 points?
Yes.
If we tell you that Atleti scored a goal, do you think they lost? Probably not, right? Atleti do not concede goals, and if they concede a goal. So that's what they've been missing, obviously, especially since Griezmann.
Efficiency.
In Griezmann's last year or two, he was slower, right? He was not.
Yeah, his numbers started to decline. That's for sure.
Yeah, if you look at Griezmann's XG in his first 3-4 years at Atleti, he was always overdoing his XG by a good margin. It was ridiculous. And then if you look at his last 2 years, 1 year I think he pretty much matched it, and the other year he actually didn't even match it.
Yeah, underperformed it. Yeah.
And then for me, the interesting dimension here is this. It's a different dimension now for Atleti attack because you have Joao and Suarez. Back in the day, Griezmann never played with a great striker at Atleti. He always played with a striker that just did dog work for him. He was just there, right? But now you have Suarez, Joao. If anyone that watched that game, Joao, this is Joao's season. Everyone that called him overrated, everyone that said he's not even worth anything, we remember what you said. You're gonna pay for your sins soon. Because Joao is an unbelievable footballer.
Yeah, for sure.
And just looking at Suarez's, obviously, you look at that first goal, that header. There aren't many players in Europe that can score that header. That's not for example, that chance. If Atleti get that chance in previous seasons, they're not scoring because they don't have a player that can score that header.
Yeah.
Simple as that, right? So that's what Suarez gives you. And then in the second goal, you see the movement he gives. Vitolo, beautiful back heel. That I think the way he hit that first time was impressive. I mean, he hit the post to generate that kind of power and place it like that. And then obviously he follows that link up with Joao is gonna be something special.
Yeah. La Liga is exciting this season. All three, I mean, it's too early to judge Atleti, Real Madrid, and Barcelona, but they look like all three are going to push for the title. It isn't going to be a 2-horse race like it was the last 2 years, actually. Just last season, because the season prior was a 1-horse race, and that was Barcelona all the way.
If Atleti don't challenge for the title,
yeah, it's going to be a disappointment.
Yeah, I think because there's lots of Simeone apologists. When you look at that squad, and when you look at the state of Barca and Madrid, Simeone is supposed to challenge for the title.
I think he's going to.
Yeah.
I just think he's going to.
And he's even gonna get Lucas Torreira. Apparently, I don't even know why they need all those midfielders, but apparently he wants Lucas Torreira. I mean, there is a chance that we wake up tomorrow and they get Cavani. I mean, apparently until this moment.
No, they turned him down.
Sorry.
Cerezo came out and said that Diego Costa is going to stay at Atleti.
Okay, so I guess that option is gone. But they were talking about until.
Did you see Costa's interview after the match?
Yeah, I saw him say, "I think if they want me to go, I'll go. If they want me to stay, I'll stay."
No. When he was asked about the partnership with Suarez.
Oh yeah.
Now we have a guy who kicks and another who bites.
Yeah.
It was, I don't know. Playing against Costa is really annoying. Playing against Suarez is even more annoying. Both are very annoying footballers to look at, to be honest. They are, quotations, very dirty, provocative. They get under your skin, which is obviously good for the team if you support that team. They do their job perfectly well. But when it comes as their opponent, it's extremely annoying. And that's also a part of shithousery that makes Atleti. So,
Just to close off for Atleti, I don't know if you noticed, but like Suarez's physique is. I mean, when he first like post quarantine Suarez, when he first came back from the injury, he was not in shape at all.
but it was injury, right? So we gotta think about that. How much could he work? It was a surgery. So how much can he work out? And obviously he has bad eating habits. That's been clear for some time now. So when you have bad eating habits and you can't train as much, obviously you're not gonna be in shape, and he wasn't.
He clearly came to Atleti in good shape, and then
Yeah, he wants to prove a point. That's for sure.
and he's gonna get in even better shape.
Yeah. Training sessions and such. I think we have covered everything. Pep, Liverpool. It was a nice weekend of football, and we're gonna continue to do this even more. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This was it for this week. It's the second week now. So we're gonna see you on the next one. Bye.